Hello, everyone. Welcome. Ooh, I'm a little nervous. I don't know if that's the right word today. It's been a long time since I have filmed anything. I don't really know what I'm doing anymore. But I really wanted to sit down and catch up with you all, let you all know what I've been working on kind of behind the scenes. As you maybe have been able to gather, I have not been keeping up with writing vlogs and any other content on this channel besides live streams, which I really have been enjoying. And a quick note on that, with the live streams, I have a very busy July. So I'm going to try to pop in some live streams during the month of July, but it is a very busy month for me. So I'm hoping in August I will be able to get back to doing some more regular live streams. We'll have some fun guests. We'll maybe do some solo streams on my channel. That's a thing that kind of slightly terrifies me, and I really want to just do it and just see how it goes and see that it's not really that scary. I wanted to update you all on Project Canopies and just talk about where I'm at with that project, because again, it's been a while. A lot has happened. We are making significant strides towards getting this book done, like final, like ready to publish. So I'm going to catch you up on as much of it as I can kind of remember. If you are at all wanting more information on any of the things that I touch on or any of the decisions that I've made as someone who is going to be self-publishing, if you want, more in-depth information, definitely let me know. And my DMs are open. If you have anything that you just want to discuss more in depth, if you're also looking to self-publish, warning, I do not check Instagram very often, so you can DM me there, but I might take a little bit to get back to you. I'll try to not, but sometimes my Instagram notifications don't work, and other times I just ignore them, so apologies for that. If we are in any Discord servers together, you can obviously also DM me that way as well if you'd like. If there's anything that you are like, oh, that sounded really interesting, I want to know more about what you're doing for that piece of the self-publishing puzzle. My last vlog that went up on my channel, I think, was from March, and it is currently June 20th. So obviously there's a large gap there. So I'm going to kind of recap what I've done. So last vlog, at the end of that vlog, I had finished outlining book 2 for Project Canopies, and I also finished going through the feedback that I had gotten for the first book, for draft 3, for my first round of beta reading. And I got a lot of really valuable feedback during that round and made a lot of really great developmental edits to my draft. I think, if I recall correctly, I think I took that next month of April, potentially. I could be off on the dates. I don't take a lot of notes on what I'm doing when, so I'd have to kind of dig around and see. I think it was in April, though, that I did draft 4. And again, that was very much developmental edits. There were world building things I needed to clarify. There were a few things with characters that I think I sort of needed to build up a little bit more. Particularly, remember, kind of the biggest piece of feedback from most people was sort of that my 2 main characters, my FMC and my MMC, don't spend enough time together in that first book. And so I wanted to add some scenes. I wanted to kind of flesh some other scenes out to try to help make it a little bit more satisfying. This book is a bit more on the slow burn side. So it was kind of a balance. I couldn't have them spend too much time together, um, but I needed them to spend a little bit more time together. So that was one big change. There were other things that I added as well. I sent it immediately to the next round of beta readers. I did have AJ, my critique partner, and my friend Ash read it again. They were kind enough to, not only read it one time, but read it a second time. And that was nice to have them kind of, people who have read both drafts so that they can kind of compare and note that, like, oh, these changes worked really well. And then I had, I think, about 4 other beta readers who were brand new to the book, had never read a previous draft. And that was a really good call, in my opinion, to get fresh eyes on the draft, along with people who had already read it before. So it was nice to have that mix. And I got some really great feedback. And I also got some people's feedback was kind of like more or less like, hey, this is great. Like, here's some small suggestions, but other than that, really enjoyed it, which kind of let me know that it was getting close to done. So there were a few tweaks that I made for draft 5. I kind of expanded on one of the plot points and tried to bring it in a bit earlier in the book because that was a piece of feedback I had gotten. I'd tell you more, but it would be spoilers, so I cannot. But so I added that in. There were other little minor things that I tweaked and just really cleaned up in draft 5. And I really just wanted to kind of put the finishing touches on the developmental edits. And then I did a line edit, basically, as part of draft 5. I went through and I just read every single sentence and tried to kind of line edit as best I could. I've never done that with a full-length novel before. It definitely got easier, but there was a lot of overthinking, just really staring at words and sentences and like overthinking them. And then kind of there were times where I would tweak them only to undo all of my changes and decide that I liked it the first way better anyways. As I was doing this, I was also trying to kind of, with those last little things that I added, trying to kind of smooth out like transitions where I added things, because that was one of my areas I was a little concerned about. I'd moved something up earlier in the book and I wanted to make sure it didn't kind of create a lot of changes down the road. I also had an element that I decided I needed to change. I won't get into it too much, but basically a lot of the characters in my book wear masks because they are in bands that wear masks to perform in, and so they wear masks. And I decided to change the design of one of the masks that some of the characters wear, and I thought it would be kind of an easier change. But as I was reading through, I was noticing all of the places where I was referencing the old design of this mask. So I had to go through and like change all of those. And I kept catching places that I needed to change. And yeah, it was interesting. It was an interesting time. But I did all that. And then I decided, just because I really just wanted to, before I sent this book off, I wanted to sit down and just read through it and just read it for vibes almost. And if I came across anything I wanted to change, I did. But I did just read through it just to kind of enjoy the book and to kind of just vibe, just have a good time, kind of remind myself why I love the story so much and the characters so much, and just like, again, kind of reconnect to my story in that way of like, do I like the story? Am I having a good time reading this? Because at the end of the day, that is the most important thing. So that was just a really fun time, actually. And I was able to finish that read through, make final little line edits here and there. I'd be reading. I actually, by the way, I put my book, I created an EPUB file and sent it to, I think this time around I read it on my Kindle. I tend to trade off between reading it on my Kobo and reading it on my Kindle, just to kind of like not get too used to seeing my story on one device or the other. Side note, the Kobo Libra Color comes with like the stylus, or it doesn't come with it, you have to buy it separately, but like you can write on it, which is actually really nice if you want to go through and read your book on an e-reader, kind of like get off of your computer screen, read it in an actual book format, and then you can use your stylus to like mark things up. Oh, I hit the camera. You can use your stylus to the mic. Wow. You can use your stylus to mark up your draft instead of like if you didn't want to print it out and do that, you know. It's really cool. I did that for a previous draft when I was doing a read through, but anyways, this time around though I did put it on my Kindle, and I can't mark up my Kindle. I just have a Paperwhite, but I would just be reading on my Kindle and come across like a sentence that I'd be like, oh, I don't really like how this sounds, like as I'm going through, like it kind of interrupted the flow, let me like tweak it a bit. Or I'd see, some words I could delete or something like that, and so I would just kind of quickly go to my computer and open the Scrivener file and kind of, after I did that, I sent my draft off to my copy editor. So that's kind of the next little update. It's actually a big update. I actually hired a copy editor who's also going to be proofreading my book as well. And then I also hired a cover designer. So I will talk more about my experiences with this, I think, after I publish and everything, when it's all said and done. But it so far has been a fairly good experience. I did find both of these freelancers through Readsy. I don't know that I would necessarily recommend or not recommend Readsy. I think they got in some hot water recently because they kind of offended some people, and I can see why people were upset. The thing that I saw that was posted online, but we're not here to get into that. But with Readsy, there is like kind of that security net, so to speak. Like if they ghosted you or something, Readsy would get your money back. I think that's they have this whole like Readsy promise or something. I don't know. But there's like that extra layer of security versus you finding someone on the internet and forking over some money to them, and they could potentially just ghost you, which I think if you do your research and you really look into people, you can probably be pretty sure that won't happen. And there's other things, you can, if you used, whatever, we don't have to talk about that part, but I didn't really have time to find people and kind of vet them, if that makes sense, just because I didn't realize how close I was getting to needing a copy editor and a cover designer. I was thinking I was still a ways away from having a final book to publish. And then I started realizing like, no, this is actually like with each revision step, it gets quicker and quicker because you have less to change really. And I just realized that I was like, wow, I'm actually at a point where I'm going to need this copy editor sooner than I think. And so I just used Readsy to just kind of make sure I wasn't booking people who weren't actually going to do what they, are hired to do. I wanted to just be sure. My copy editor, I was really pleased with their sample edits, and which again, by the way, I would highly recommend if you are looking to hire an editor, see if they'll do a sample edit for you. I feel like most will, and especially for line edits, it's a really good way to get a sense of how helpful their editing will be for you. It's not going to give you a full picture because obviously it's usually not even a full chapter that they're going to do. So it depends on how long your chapter is. I would just recommend having them do a sample edit for you. But anyways, so I really liked my I really liked my copy editor's sample edit. And there were I had a lot of questions that she was very, very great about answering, and it just felt like the right decision to go with her. So I'm very, very glad that I was able to find her. And then my cover designer, I haven't gotten to work with quite yet, because she was a little bit more booked out, but I really wanted to go with her because I loved her portfolio that I was looking through, and it just, again, felt like the right fit. This cover designer reads the book first, which to me was like, okay, I am sold, because I don't know how to describe my book to people. I'm not good at pitching it. And I wouldn't know what elements to like tell a cover designer that I wanted to incorporate into my book. So this will be really nice because she's going to read my book and she'll be able to kind of use her artist's brain to, kind of figure out what potential things could go on the cover and like what the vibes should be and all of that. So I'm really excited to get that process started. I will definitely try to keep you guys all in the loop for how all of that goes, but I'm feeling really good about it. So yeah, so currently my book is with my copy editor. I think she gets it back to me in a little over a week, and I mean from today, she's not doing the whole thing in a week. It's been with her for about a week now. So it'll be another week before I probably get it back. And then I'm going to make the final little changes. And then she's going to proofread it. And then I'm probably going to try and get something printed. Even I'm just going to make a fake cover probably and just get it printed through Barnes & Noble and just maybe do a little read through, maybe mark it up, if I find, typos, because, she's going to proofread it, but everybody's human. So I'm assuming there could still be, a typo here or there. So we'll try to catch those as well. And, yeah, that's what's been happening. Cover design is going to be maybe an August thing, depending on my cover designer's calendar. She did say she might be able to move me up a little bit in her calendar, so it could be a little bit sooner than that, but sometime in August is when we're gonna get started on that. And that leaves me a good amount of time in July to work on book 2, a good amount of time to work on some other more boring administrative things. Another update I have is actually that I filed an LLC. I created a little publishing, company. It's not really, it's an LLC. It's just me. We're not publishing other people, or it's not a publishing house or anything like that. But I created an LLC. And this is, let me back up a little bit very quickly so I don't panic anybody. If you're self-publishing, you do not need an LLC. It's not a requirement. But so with the LLC, right, if you go to buy an ISBN, or ISBNs plural, and you just do it as yourself, which you absolutely can do, right? There's no reason you can't do that. And I think in some countries they're free, but I'm getting off track. But say you're in the States and you have to buy your ISBNs and and you do it as yourself. And then later you decide you want to create an LLC because you're I don't know, your books are popping off. You're making a shit ton of money and you're doing the thing. You're an author. You're a full-time author making a living doing this, and you want to protect yourself. Also, you maybe want privacy. Then you can create an LLC to kind of protect yourself a little bit more, get a little bit more privacy. And then if you did that though, your ISBNs, you can't just transfer them, I don't think. You might have to buy new ones that belong to your LLC, and then you would have to, as far as I understand it, and I could be wrong, but as far as I understand it, you basically have to unpublish your books and republish them, because you'd have to you can't just transfer your Amazon KDP account, for example, to your business. You'd have to create a new one. I think that's how it works. Again, I could be wrong, but that's just what I've heard. And I didn't want to deal with that That was the number one reason. The second reason is that I'm using a pen name, and I didn't really know, like, legally speaking, how to kind of make sure it wasn't like me doing business as like my pen name. Like, I wanted to hide my legal name, but you can't do that. You can't like give out your pen name as like a, you know, like if I'm signing up just as an individual instead of an LLC, like with KDP or something, I have to give them my full name. And depending on these platforms, you know, that might get shown to, it could get shown to customers. I know, for example, like I was thinking about turning on paid subscribers for my Substack just in case someone wanted to do that. I don't know. And I was trying to set up Stripe, and I realized that Stripe would show my legal name to anybody who subscribed to me on Substack. Like, they would see my legal name as the part of the receipt on their bank statement, and I don't want that. So, not because I care a lot if my legal name is out there, but I just don't really want it to be out there a ton. I also want to be able to hide my address. I don't want people to be able to find where I live and all this stuff. So there's a privacy piece of this as well, which is why I decided to do an LLC. Now, again, you do not have to. I know plenty of self-published authors who aren't doing that. So, or at least they're not doing it right now, because it does cost money. It depends on your state or country. I know there's similar things like in the UK. I don't know about other places. Probably have something similar. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. This was not the point of the video. But I just wanted to kind of get that all set up now so that I don't have to do it later. And this way, if I also ever decide to publish under a different pen name, I don't have to do anything else. Like, it can just be under the same like publishing company, the LLC. So anyways, I did that. It's still pending, you know, the paperwork has like been submitted, but the, you know, state still has to process it and all of that. I have other things. I need to do my website. I need to make like a mailing list. I got to do all of the kind of the boring stuff that's, you know, probably honestly not too bad, but yeah. So I'll keep you all updated on that, and I'll definitely share when my website is up and running. But for now, I don't have, I think that's all the updates that I had for you, really. I mean, basically, the book is very close to done. And I will share, you know, as I know more about like the cover design and, you know, website stuff and I gotta buy the ISBNs. I gotta open up a business bank account, all this stuff, right? All of this like admin stuff that kind of happens behind the scenes. It's not super fun. And I know there's a lot of resources on YouTube though that do talk about how to do all of this. So I've been watching a lot of that content lately. And if you have any questions or anything like that, definitely reach out, let me know. I'd love to do like more sit down chatty videos. So if you have any other topics, you can definitely let me know. But I hope you guys enjoyed the update. Like I said, again, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any topics you would like me to discuss in a little sit down and chatty video where we pull out the mic, right? Like podcast style. Let's chat about, I don't know, anything to do with writing mindset, anything to do with self-publishing, anything to do with anything that's not like actual writing craft advice, if that makes sense. Just let me know. Just pop it in the comments. If you did make it this far, please leave me the donut emoji. You guys can't see it, but I have a little donut thing over there in the on my windowsill. You can't see it right now. So it's just a little donut like plushy thing. So leave me a donut emoji if you got this far in the video. I'm trying to think of like some question to like ask you guys to answer in the comments, and I can't. But if you could relate to anything in this video, definitely feel free to like share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to give me an update on how your writing is going, feel free. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Hopefully this wasn't terribly long, but I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day or night, and I will see you back here in some video or another, or in a live stream if you watch those. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.